The fourth expression of Leo is nobility. And we have some sense of what nobility means when we consider stories of the British aristocracy and the qualities that they have are often put aside because the idea of being rich and important is not well supported. But the nobility and the quality of finding that nobility within yourself is something that Sufis actually admire and promote and revere as a high spiritual quality. And if we look at the various expressions of nobility, we find why. We find why nobility is a spiritual principle. And this series of degrees of Leo begins with 16, where we have sunshine after the storm. So this is an image of knowing for sure, for certain, that however bad it is at the moment, it's temporary. And that this storm that we're experiencing in life, perhaps as an emotional drama, difficulty at work, poorness of health, poverty of money, or whatever storm you're going through right now, it is always followed by sunshine. And it takes a nobility of spirit to know that and to behave with that degree of optimism that you shoulder the burden of your hard times for as long as you need to until the sunshine comes back again. This leads us to the 17th degree, where we have a non-vested choir. Non-vested means that you're not wearing the clothes of the church, for example. You know, you're privately doing this. A group of people are getting together outside of the auspices of the authority of the church, and they're being a choir. They're singing in harmony. And this actually happens quite a lot, especially in England. There's a lot of community choirs developing over the years, the last few decades in England. And a group of people get together and they sing in harmony. And that's all. There's no other agenda. They have no ambition other than to sing. Not necessarily to perform, possibly, but not necessarily. Just to find that place of harmony. And of course this produces a condition of great depth of empathy and affection and trust and beauty and a spiritual state of being that arises from that. And it's absolutely innocent. They're just singing. And that's doing something for its own sake. That's an aspect of nobility, isn't it? In Leo 18, a teacher of chemistry, represents the principle of our ability to learn nature, to learn what holds it all together, the facts of the matter. David Attenborough, for example, has brought our attention to the glory in that. The simple formula that governs all natural things is that they have to eat and they have to breed and have to make a home of some sort, have an environment which supports them. Very simple criteria for success and survival. And that creates universally this amazing beauty and complex interactive system, which in the end is understood to be all connected. Everything is unity expressing itself in diversity. Nature is that which teaches us this principle most clearly. So the teacher of chemistry is a person who gets that so well, so embodiedly, that everyone else sort of understands that. And this whole thing of nobility being an example, the exemplar of the way to be, that's a kind of teaching just by being right. You teach rightness. And we don't really have to do anything about what we know. We just have to know it in the true sense of behaving in keeping with our knowledge. We have to walk our talk. And this is an aspect of nobility as well, that we're actually authentic. We know how it all hangs together. We live according to our own principles. We make it all up, how it hangs together according to us. Those become our principles, and we live by them. The principles of life, we live by them. And that's what nobility requires of us. However, there is an aspect of holding yourself together there that creates a need for release. Full and utter, absolute, authentic openness of release. Houseboat party, Leo 19, where it's not just a party, it's a houseboat party, it's offshore. It's necessarily distant from community requirements. You go away and you do your thing. You do it with others and you just let it all out. Those of us who try to hold on to a sense of self-discipline most of the time, almost all of the time, nevertheless have to let our hair down and completely let go, really, to be uninhibited in letting out all the tensions that build up. And the aristocrats in Britain did this. They weren't shy about their proclivities and wild extremities of pleasure. Didn't do it all the time, now and again, not that often really, but they did get it out there, and that's a part of it. For us to pretend in a puritanical kind of way that we're above sin and pleasure, it's nonsense. None of us is. It's just not a part of the human condition to have no appetites which are of the animal nature. That's partly because we are half animal. So we have to let it out, and I think a puritanical attitude will be a problem. Any repression of this energy will lead to bigger problems, really potentially very big problems. And in Zuni sun worshippers, Leo 20, you get the image of people practicing their relationship with God in their own way. I mean, these were pagan sun worshippers, and the attitude of the modern era is to disdain them because they were worshipping the sun as though that were God, and scientists today know that it's not. But we will only ever be able to worship an image of God because we can't conceive of God. We can't make a model of something that's beyond our conception. So these sun worshippers got that. The sun is a really good image of what God is, the light bringer, the source of all life, without which we would die, without which we would be depressed first, and like the sun is a really good image for God. And these early sun worshippers, that'll do. That's what we'll worship instead of God. And they did it in their way, and this is the important thing. If you have any sense within you of sacredness and devotion to some great being, make up your image of what that might look like and what you might want to call it. I don't think God minds very much whatever you call it. You can call it a him if you like, or a her. You can call it goddess if you like, if that suits you. I don't think it matters at all. And you can emblemize that as in Islam, calligraphy, or in Christianity, churches and cathedrals and stained glass windows. You can make up images of Christ on the cross, and you can worship those images as a way to worship God. But that's all you're doing. You're making up a model in order to have some direction for your devotion. And it takes nobility of spirit to insist that even though God has been given a very bad press by many people and taught very badly, nevertheless, beyond all of that nonsense and confusion and dark stuff, there is the light of God to be found. That requires a certain beingness, a certain state of knowledge of the aristocracy of the soul. The ego operates in a democratic way. What you want, what I want, we have to find some kind of midpoint there. But the soul does not compromise. The soul is aristocratic. It is noble of purpose, noble of being.